One of the main questions I always get is how to measure your approach in the high jump. So today, guys, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to measure your approach, how to find a mark that's right for you. So, guys, my name is Dontavious Hill, 3-time Team USA high jumper, 5-time NCAA All-American, 2-time NCAA bronze medalist with a current personal best of 7 feet 5 inches. Recently competed in the 2024 Olympic trials. And today I'm really going to be helping you guys find your approach. Many of our young athletes and even some of our coaches struggle to help our athletes find an approach and what they should be doing. So today I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. So let's start off with the basics, right? Every high jumper, high jump athlete, coach, parent, whoever's helping, you need tape. You need a white tape. Like you need white tape to actually put marks down. If you do not have that, chalk is fine as well. Okay? You need something to be able to mark where the athlete is. We do not want to guess where the athlete is. That is the worst thing you can do in an event like the high jump. This is not like the 100-meter where you always have the start line in the same place. High jump, you don't want to go out there with a different start line every time you get ready to compete or jump. Just think about that, guys. What if, with a 100-meter sprinter or something, they have to change their blocks every time? They have a type of set that they like to put their blocks on so it feels the same every time they get ready to run. So what if every time a sprinter had to go out and run, somebody put this foot this way, put this block that way, put this one that way, right? Or let's say driving a car. What if every time you had to drive a car, someone adjusted the difference in power steering fluid that was in your vehicle so your wheel was always a different type of squeaky or a different type of loose every time you drove it? It would be very difficult to drive. Same thing in the high jump. We want the same mark every day at practice and at competition. Because what that's going to do is build consistency for you as a high jumper. So make sure we have white tape or chalk. Let's make sure we have even a marker to write the name on the athlete's tape to make sure they remember it in the meet or in practice. And also having a tape measure. Okay, need a tape measure. We're not guessing, right? We don't even want to just guess and use our feet and do it. Okay, let's get into this. So what usually happens when someone first tries to get the mark, some people, they just stand with their arm out to the pit and they run out to a mark, right? They run it backwards. That's a great way to start if you have no idea where you are, okay? That's a great way to start if you have no idea where you are. But when you find that mark, you have to put a piece of tape down and say, okay, this is where I'm at, and I'm going to adjust accordingly, right? Now, even better, if you do not have a mark and you want to find a mark, this is what you should do. So on average, every high jump mark is about, I'm not going to say every mark is, but where you should be is anywhere between 10 to 15 feet width. Okay, when I'm talking this, whenever you measure, this is going to be our pit. Oh, that's a pretty big pit, but it's all right. So whenever we measure, we always want to measure from the standards. All right. So let's pretend those are the standards and that's the bar. We always want to measure from the standard. So we want to measure from the center of the standard, and we want to be anywhere from 10 to 15 feet width. So you want to be anywhere from 10 to 15 feet, when you're talking width in the high jump. That's a great estimate of where you want to be. And how you would measure this is you would take this tape out, and when you get to 10, you put a piece of tape. When you get to 11, put a piece of tape. 12, piece of tape. 13, piece of tape. 14, piece of tape. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? You want to put a piece of tape or a cone at every one of those. This is how you find it, okay? So then from that point, you really want to measure back. Okay, you want to measure back. And from when you're measuring back, the distance is usually approximately for a 10-step approach, anywhere between, 45 to 55, from girls to guys, both 45 to 55, right? But a good rule of thumb is really 50 feet as an estimate for a 10-step approach for a guy, and about, for me, I would say 45 for a 10-step approach for a girl, high school athlete from my experience. So then when you come here, what you kind of want to do is, though, just to still be even more crisp on finding it, if this was 40, we would put a mark at 40, put a mark at 45, put a mark at 50, put a mark at 55. All right, so when you do this, what you have, you basically have a test run. You have a whole test run of what you need to do. So you have your test run of 10 to 15 feet. Then you have your test run of 45, 50, 55. Actually, this is 40, 45, 50, 55. So you have a test run here, you have a test run there. So with your athlete, they can test out and see how they feel from 45, from 50, from 55 at a 10 step. And if you wanted to change, right, you wanted to see, okay, that was 10 feet. How do I feel from 11? You do the same thing. You take the tape over here and you go boom. Same exact thing. See, it looked like a little track over here, right? So you can test out how your athlete does from a 10 feet width, 11 feet width, 12 feet width, 13 feet width, 14 feet width, 15 feet width. You can test them from all of these different widths and all of these different lengths that are approximately 5 feet apart. 45 with 40, 45, 50, 55. You know, they may be somewhere in the 50, 52 range, 51, 53. You don't know. This is why you test it, right? So this is what you want to do when you have an athlete who does not know their mark, or even for athletes who think that they have a good mark but want to find another one that's actually more suitable for them. This is a great way to do it, right? There is no guessing involved. You go to practice, you go out here, and you go and see, okay, I'm going to start at 10 feet 50. Boom. How does that feel? Oh, I feel like I don't feel comfortable here. Let's try and move out to 11. Let's try to move out to 11 and come up 5 feet. So you pretty much have this grid, basically like a game of trying to pick a spot, connect the dots. Like you get to pick a spot and see where you are. And when you find your spot, and I don't recommend trying 100 different areas that you could go, because you can go a lot of places here, right? But this is going to be a great baseline for you to find out and get comfortable. And when you find that spot and get comfortable, you want to use that same spot every day. And if you're ever going to adjust, you don't adjust from 10 feet to 15 feet. If you're going to adjust width-wise, let's say, okay, I'm at 10 feet, I'm going to go out to 11 feet and see how I feel today. I'm going to try 10-6, get a little bit more width. That's how you slightly adjust when you're working on your approach. You don't make a big drastic 10 to 15 because it's not going to feel right at all. It's going to be completely new, and your body is not going to know how to get that kind of approach into position. So when we get ready to make adjustments, let's make minimal adjustments. But for first timers or even athletes who want to go back and try and actually find a mark, this is what you need to do, right? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about preparation and planning just to finish this. So when you guys go to a competition, every time you go to a competition, you need to have your tape, you need to have your tape measure. And when you go out there, you're going to always know what you need to measure whenever you need to mark. So ask one of your teammates, ask one of your coaches to help you actually measure this out before the competition. Don't be like 80% of all the other athletes who don't have a mark, or they just guess the mark. Let's be consistent high jumpers. Let's have us a consistent mark. Let's go out and practice at these different areas and different locations and different spots so that we can be confident whenever we go to practice. We can be confident whenever we go to the competition. What we don't want is to have a different mark every time we go out there and estimate it every time we go out there. That makes zero sense. Nobody else in any other events have to deal with something like that. dealing with something new every time they go out. Nobody else has to do that. But it's so common among young athletes and high school athletes that they're at a different mark every time they jump. And they wonder why they're stuck at a specific height. You haven't done the same thing long enough. So let's do this. This is going to help us break through plateaus, help us get consistent, and learn how to jump higher. If your athlete is struggling with inconsistent approaches, let me help you guys out. During my free high jump blueprint strategy session, I'll analyze their current approach and show them where they can make fixes. This exact method helped one of my athletes go from 6 feet to 6'3" in just 2 weeks. Click the link in the description to book your session. Spots are limited each week to make sure we get all the help we need to the athlete and their family. Let's transform your jumper's approach into their greatest advantage.